And our regular for business, Emmanuel, is here. What do you have?
Well, in business, the World Bank president is assuring, or he believes, he does not think that Ghana and other African countries whose debt levels are soaring could slip back into HIPC. You know the controversy surrounding HIPC.
Yes, I do know.
Yes, we've been assured and spared of that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thanks for joining me on Business. World Bank President Yong Kim says he does not think Ghana and other African countries with high debt levels risk falling back into debt-distressed levels or becoming HIPC. Mr. Jim was responding to a question on rising debt levels of some African countries, especially for those who have exited HIPC, and that there are risk of falling back into that category again. Mr. Jim said the debt levels in these countries, including Ghana, are not bad. He was speaking at a press conference at the annual IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C.
Well, Larry, I think if you look at debt to GDP ratios, they're still in most of Africa, still pretty reasonable. We are not. There are some countries that are now above 50%, but there's still many countries that are still quite a bit below 50% in terms of debt to GDP ratio. So, what we're doing now is to really try to focus on things like, can we create asset classes, even, for example, in African infrastructure that will require relatively less indebtedness and really bring private sector investments into these countries. We're watching debt levels very, very carefully. I'm not yet concerned that we're reaching a debt crisis level, certainly not in most of sub-Saharan Africa, but we have to watch it. Now, if you look at the places that have gotten into trouble recently with debt, two of them are Lebanon and Jordan. And they went, Jordan itself went from around, a little over 50% debt to GDP to over 90%. And that was mostly because of the response to the refugee crisis. So one of the things that we are now doing is we're being much more strategic and much more flexible in the way we use concessional finance. So for Jordan and Lebanon, we're actually providing them concessional lending. We took some money from the UK that was given as a grant and go to the capital markets, blend the two, and can provide 15 to 20-year money at close to 0%, because we want to show that when countries provide a great service for the world in absorbing Syrian refugees, that they should not become indebted, and certainly not indebted with short maturity, high interest debt. So we're following it very closely, and I think the new flexibility that we have in using concessional resources will help us even more in being able to respond to situations like Jordan and Lebanon.
Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Acosta Asare, has called on corporate entities in the country to develop more economic and sustainable social policies to streamline corporate social responsibility activities. Dr. Asare says the private sector's contribution to social responsibility in the country could be enhanced through the systematic implementation of a sustainable policy. The Trade and Industry Minister was speaking at the launch of the National CSR policy in Accra.
Companies in the past have embarked several initiatives that they considered as corporate social responsibility. This, however, did not fall in line with proper policy guidelines and eventually did not yield the desired results. The development of a policy document for CSR was commended by the New Partnership for African Development in its 2011 peer review report. Speaking during the launch of the Ghana National Corporate Social Responsibility Policy in Accra, Dr. Asare said, without a sustainable and economic policy, the targeted national development for the country will not be achieved. He therefore urged corporate entities to develop appropriate policies to meet their targets.
Corporate social responsibility must also be commercially and financially sustainable. So we want it to be economically sustainable, socially sustainable, environmentally sustainable, but you cannot do those things if, for whatever reason, the programs also are not commercially and financially sustainable. So I was delighted to see a number of programs that GIZ is involved in, some of which border on commercial activity, whether it is processing or packaging or whatever it is that is being done. And I'll be interested in exploring some of this a little bit more with them. I hope that the departments in the Ministry of Trade and Industry that are responsible, especially for industry, beyond the CSR aspect, are actually sufficiently engaged with the GIZ and the employment program that we saw with regards to any other areas in which the ministry
His part, German ambassador to Ghana, Christoph Retzlaff, outlined some relevant actions that Germany has undertaken to make it the best country within Europe. He noted that such policies could be emulated by Ghana to help sustain its CSR policy.
In social responsibility, Germany is actually one of the leaders in Europe and maybe also worldwide. We have always seen the private sector and companies as a very relevant part in our society. We have in Germany developed a concept that's called social market economy. That means that gaining profits, earning profits for company is one thing, but having a social responsibility for the employers and the workers is another thing. You have to bring both together. You have, as an entrepreneur, you have, of course, a responsibility towards your people working in your company. You have a responsibility towards the environment, and these are all examples.
The policy is seeking to promote a partnership between the public sector, private sector, and the community to create shared value for society and entities.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Telecommunications, Kweku Sechiado, has emphasized the increase in the number of smartphones in the country as key to the country's agenda towards attaining a cashless economy. Smartphones in use across the country are estimated to be over 8 million. This, according to Mr. Sechiado, has somewhat boosted mobile financial transactions from 29 million to over 37 million within the last 2 years. Speaking at the launch of the new Tecno Phantom 6 Plus smartphone, he said this development should also reduce the cost of doing business.
In Ghana, the estimated number of smartphones is 8 million, and that's more than double the number in 2014. Back then, mobile phone connections stood at 29 million. In October 2015, the number of mobile phone connections had grown to 33 million from 29 the previous year. And today, as we launch the Phantom 6 and 6 Plus, we have over 37 million mobile connections in Ghana. That's 8 million more connections in just 2 years. And to think that in 1993 or so, there were just about 4,000 mobile phones. But one area of significant growth and promise in the mobile telephony industry in Ghana is mobile money. In 2014, there were 2.3 million active mobile money customers.
Driving made in Ghana products through value addition is part of the goals for the 10th edition of the Rural Enterprise Program exhibition. Trade Minister Dr. Spiogabra last week hinted government may be compelled to pass a legislation to enforce the implementation of the Made in Ghana policy if companies fail to comply with it. As part of the implementation process, an exhibition is currently ongoing at the West Hills Mall in Accra. Sheila Tamaklo was there and spoke to financial consultant of the Rural Enterprise Program, Charles Mensah. There's more in this report.
Great opportunities are being unearthed at the Rural Enterprise Exhibition to showcase Made in Ghana products. They include great sales ranging from African textile prints and their outfits to furniture sets carved out of recycled car tires. These exhibitors were definitely excited and had high expectations.
Now money has come. As I go, I've made sales and then got contact. People want to be distributors.
Anyway, it's they marketing our product and then make the advert for us. Sometimes we do about 20,000, 30,000, up to 40,000. Yes, after the show.
Oh, exhibition has helped me a lot. You know, when we are starting going for fairs, you see, sometimes you see me with, let's say, 10 or 20 products, but now you can see it's plenty over here. It means this thing is helping us so much. The exhibition is helping us, but through the exhibition you get plenty money, more than those who buy. You see, if we are in the shop, we give to those who buy and sell. But if you come here, you can add, let's say, 10 cedis or 5 cedis to it, so that at the end of the day, you increase your income. So exhibition is good. It's good for us. Yeah.
Packaged local confectionaries, popularly known in Ghana as joe, mushroom chips, and even mango wines were among some new and creative local products at this year's Rural Enterprise Program exhibition underway at the West Hills Mall. Some participants also shared their experiences on Joy Business.
I come from Republic of Benin to this exhibition, and when I see the exhibition, it's a nice thing. Okay. It's a nice thing. Next time, if I return back to Benin, I will tell my people to come here for the exhibition, because this exhibition will help also to show what we can do in Africa.
I think it's basically a good fair. I really think the key soap and some of the like washing up liquids, if they are not made from natural products, it takes it away from what I believe is art and culture from the country.
For the organizers, they were hopeful the fair will be a very successful one to help boost market for the exhibitors.
And that's it for business. Thank you very much for watching. For more business updates, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are afraid there's more news ahead. Don't go away.